So now what happens is we go to Cherry Hill, and you got to remember I'm with two handicapped people in electric wheelchairs. We pull into an auditorium where we have to pay $10 donation. So absolutely I feel skeptical about everything because of the $10 donation. So we're sitting down and we're waiting for the band to come on to sing some religious music, and at the same time the band has a problem with their equipment. Now my manager turns around, who's been helping me with music, and he says, "Tone, why don't you go up there? You know so much about equipment." So I went up to the stage and I found out that it was a wire that needed to be changed. In the meantime, there was people sitting up on stage, and I decided to stay on stage where the band was. This little woman come out with a big wooden cross with Jesus on it, and she was walking up to people that were in wheelchairs their whole life, saying prayers over them, and they were able to get up out of the wheelchair and take a few steps. It was a very emotional moment. Every once in a while she would come next to me and touch me, and I would get numb in that area. So what happened was she was concentrating on seeing the Blessed Mary, and she was staring up without blinking, saying the Hail Marys, and when she gets to so many Hail Marys, the Blessed Mary was going to appear. And I was sitting on stage with about 14, 15 other people that were all priests and nuns, Catholic priests and Catholic nuns, along with the band members that were singing religious songs, and several other people that were helping. So what happens now, when she's saying these Hail Marys, and all of a sudden the fire alarm goes off in the place. And you got to imagine that there's exits on all sides of the building, and we're trying to get everybody out the door, each door. And the people that are healthy, that are able to walk, are pushing all the wheelchairs out, so I'm trying to get people out the door. In the meantime, the people I came with went out a different door. When I went out to the door I went out pushing a wheelchair, something happened that was incredible, unbelievable. It was a cloudy day with no sun at all, and the sun came violently out of the sky and came down. At that moment, I was in shock because I thought it was going to be the end of the world. I still didn't look at it yet as a miracle from the Blessed Mary. When the sun went back up into the sky, it went to the left, and then it went to the right, and then it went to the left, and then it went up again. And this happened for several seconds, and we all dropped to our knees, and that's when a little old nun next to me grabbed my hand and said that this was a miracle from the Blessed Mary. She showered us with the smell of roses that was so powerful that the smell was in the air, and the sun came right out of the sky. And now what winds up happening is we walk back in to the auditorium. Now the people who went out the different exits, they heard us all screaming and carrying on. They didn't get a chance to see because of the trees in the building that was blocking, but about 70 of us got a chance to see it. So now when we walk back in, my whole body is completely numb from the neck down. We've seen a miracle. We experienced an admiration from the Blessed Mary. So now we walk back in, and we found out the fireman said that there was nothing wrong with the fire alarm. We have no idea why it went off. The smell of roses was still all over our bodies. It was in our hair, and the people around us that didn't see it was smelling the roses off us. Now a pastor gets up to the microphone, the palladium, and he decides to say, how many of you people seen the miracle that we just witnessed from the Blessed Mary? And several of us put our hands up. At the same time, my hands became so red hot that I was holding hands with a nun that was sitting next to me, who was probably in her 90s. And she said that the Holy Spirit came into me because my hands were so hot. So I went around touching everybody that was sick, maybe perhaps feeling that I had the Holy Spirit came from the Blessed Mary, who was going to make me heal people. Anyway, it was an unbelievable experience, something I'll never forget. On my way coming home, I felt completely numb from my neck down, and I mean, you could literally pinch any part of my body, and I wouldn't be able to feel it. It was so scary, but it was so wonderful, but so shocking at the same time. For those of you that have any doubts that the Blessed Mary does not exist, she does, and she's around us all the time. So for those of you that watch this on YouTube, please remember that this is something that I seen, and it's why I seen it. I never was I was in rock and roll all my life, but I always had a very close bond with Jesus, the Blessed Mary, and I always tried to say my prayers and do the right things as a person. In spite of my wildness of being rock and roll on stage, I'm a very righteous man at heart. But those of you, again, who don't believe in the Blessed Mary, have second thoughts, because I seen the miracle that came to me in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Thank you so much for your time, and God bless you.
Oh.